Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking what is usually a super dry, honestly kind of confusing buyer's journey and transforming it into an empowering toolkit for your feet. If you've ever felt totally overwhelmed just staring at a massive wall of identical-looking footwear, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to break down the science, the fit, and the function of dance footwear so you know exactly what to look for. Okay, let's dive into this. It's really easy to fall into the trap of thinking about your dance shoes as just a uniform, right? Like, it's just something you buy because the dress code says you have to. But let's completely dispel that myth right now. Your shoes are literally pieces of high-performance engineering. They dictate your comfort, your center of balance, and ultimately, just how confidently you can execute your movements out on the floor. I mean, if your feet are constantly fighting your shoes, your brain just can't focus on the choreography. So to get this right, we're going to follow a 4-part roadmap for this explainer. First, matching your dance style. Second, finding the perfect fit. Third, looking at soles, surfaces, and traction. And finally, support, durability, and the break-in process. Let's kick things off with Pillar 1, match your dance style. Think about it. You wouldn't use a hammer to drive a screw, right? Well, the exact same logic applies to your dance footwear. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how completely different styles change the physics and the design required from the shoe. If you look at ballet, for example, the footwear absolutely must be incredibly lightweight and flexible to support highly controlled, pointed footwork. But move down to jazz, and suddenly, you need more structure. You need a grippy sole specifically designed to help you execute turns safely. Ballroom shoes are engineered for a very specific smooth glide and traction tailored for sweeping floor movements. And hip-hop or contemporary styles, those demand grounded sneakers built to absorb the shock of really dynamic, heavy-hitting motions. Your shoe is quite literally a tool designed for a specific physical job. Seeing all those totally different requirements naturally brings up a question I hear all the time, especially from beginners. Can one shoe just do it all? Look, it's a huge temptation to buy one neutral shoe for multiple styles to save some money or avoid the hassle. But honestly, it's generally a bad idea. A shoe built specifically for your primary style is always going to deliver way better comfort and control. Trying to ballroom dance in a grippy jazz shoe or do hip-hop in a flexible ballet slipper is just going to severely hold back your technique. Let's move to Pillar 2 and see how this builds into the most crucial physical step, finding the perfect fit. This is all about what happens when you actually put the shoe on. Getting a totally secure fit is what actually improves your foot placement and, crucially, prevents those awful blisters and instability. So, here is your exact fitting room checklist. Step 1. The shoe needs to be snug, but absolutely not painful. Your toes shouldn't feel cramped up at the end of the toe box. Step 2. Pay really close attention to your heel. When you take small steps or practice turns, your heel shouldn't lift up out of the back of the shoe at all. If it does, you're losing control. And step 3, please don't just stand there. Walk, move, and do a few basic steps right there in the store to really test them out. So the absolutely crucial point here is knowing when to walk away from a pair of shoes. If you experience any of these red flags, it's an immediate sign to take them off. If the shoe feels even slightly unstable under your foot, if it pinches sharply at your arch, or if it rubs in the exact same spot every single time you take a step, listen to your feet. Do not try to convince yourself it'll be fine once you break them in. Just take them off and try a completely different size or model. Moving right along to Pillar 3, soles, surfaces, and traction. Let's talk about the bottom of the shoe, because this is where your foot actually meets the physics of the floor. I want you to ask yourself right now, what exact surface are you dancing on the most? Is it a rubberized gym floor, maybe a highly polished studio wood, or a professional sprung surface? You really have to consider your specific environment, because the sole of your shoe has to perfectly complement that exact surface to allow for fluid, slip-free movement. A shoe that works like a total dream on polished wood could be a dangerous slip hazard on a dusty gym floor. And this brilliantly illustrates what we call the Goldilocks zone of traction. You need the exact right balance between glide and grip. If your soles are too sticky or rubberized for the floor, fast pivots become so much harder to execute, and that puts a ton of unnecessary strain on your knees and ankles. On the flip side, if the soles are way too slick or smooth, your overall stability dangerously drops, and you'll spend all your energy just trying not to wipe out. Finding that sweet spot lets you practice your technique with total confidence. And that brings us to our final section, Pillar 4, support, durability, and break-in. This is all about the life cycle of the shoe and how it protects your feet over time. Now, support in dance footwear varies a ton. going from incredibly minimal, flexible designs all the way to highly structured shoes. But if you're a beginner, you really want to prioritize stability. When you're just starting out, you benefit massively from shoes that stabilize your foot and ankle, keeping you safe while still giving you the necessary range of motion to actually learn the proper techniques. Okay, so you've bought the shoes and you're wearing them to class. We have to clearly delineate between normal break-in aches and actual bad pain. Normal break-in is just a general stiffness or discomfort in the leather or canvas, and that noticeably fades as the material warms up and molds to your foot over time. But a massive red flag, persistent pain that just won't go away, or any sharp pressure points. Sharp pain literally means the shoe is injuring you, not breaking in. Also, if you dance frequently, you've got to keep an eye on durability. You want materials that can handle repeated wear. Make it a habit to regularly check your shoes for wear and tear. Look really closely at the seams, check the stitching, and inspect the edges of the soles. And, hey, here is a pro tip for you. You don't always have to throw the whole shoe out. Replacing a worn sole can instantly breathe totally new life into your shoe's grip and performance. Now, if you've gone through all of these steps and you're still stuck staring at two pairs of shoes that feel kind of similar, just remember, when in doubt, ask your instructor. Honestly, they are an incredible resource. They can give you highly tailored recommendations based on your specific goals as a dancer, and they know the exact surface of the class they teach in better than anyone. Choosing your footwear correctly means you've matched your style, secured that perfect fit, found the right traction, and ensured the shoe supports you safely. When you get all those elements dialed in, your shoes literally eliminate physical distractions. The ultimate goal of the perfect dance shoe is to make you completely forget you're wearing it at all. So with the right style, fit, and traction, eliminating all distractions, are you ready to focus solely on your technique? Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and happy dancing.